They just want to keep me safe. And he told me they wasn't lying. They want to keep him safe in the penitentiary. They were technically telling the truth. We want to keep him safe. Now that appeals to your mother, because she wants you alive. Your family would rather for you to be alive and not achieve your goal of freedom. They would rather for you to be alive in jail than out free with a good chance of getting killed. Because they would rather be on the plantation as a slave than dead. You see what I mean? So they're going to act off what they view. And the government knows their view. Okay. So anyway, an organization is a tool used by people to coordinate their actions to obtain something they desire and value, to achieve their goals. So remember, we went through this maybe almost a month ago. That was basically the organizational thing, the leadership thing, the management thing. Organizational change is a process by which organizations redesign and transform their structures and cultures to move from their current state to some desired future state to increase their effectiveness. The goal of an organizational change is to find new ways to improve ways of using resources and capabilities to increase an organization's ability to create value and performance. So now, although we reformed as an organization, and just to say we're an organization is very important, but we're not going to act like an organization with new cultures and new habits and new behaviors unless we force ourselves to do it. It's like training. You know, when you get a new mission, when you join the Army, they send you the basic training and all that. They train you to be a soldier. Well, an organization, we have to train ourselves to act as a functioning organization. I mean, with willpower, with discipline, we have to make ourselves do it. You know why? Because automatically we'll kick back and do the stuff that we would normally do. Like during the last period for me, technically, was a lot of counter punching and different things like that, and manipulating the environment to come out the way we want. So a lot of it was hurry up and wait. You know, like in the Army, get ready, hurry up, and then not wait for it to happen. But in this period, it's not hurry up and wait. This period is we're on the offensive. So we're managing the environmental circumstances. It's not hurry up and wait. But we went through a 5-year period of that, like if we come out of that management by motivation and moving, and we may have been into a 5 or 7, 8 year period of hurry up and wait, where we got time on our hands. Little simple things. Before, in that work period of time, I wouldn't be watching no movies or watching television, but in hurry up and wait, I got plenty of time. I can watch movies, right? So when I get back off the trip from up there the other day, I said, hey, I'll watch a movie. I said, no, you're not watching a movie, because movie gets you off track. Movies, you know. Yesterday, after I had a hard, nice little workout, good workout, took a little nap and got back up So my hurry up and wait period said, hey, why don't you watch a movie? Give Tony a call. He's got a whole month of new movies now. I said, no, I ain't. I have to say, no. You ain't watching no movies. Movies is a distraction for you. When you watch 2, 3 movies, you go into bed at 2 a.m. in the morning. And your new schedule, you know, Fajr, I've been Fajr, so I got a new schedule. Pretty soon it'll be 5 times a day in the Masjid. Right now it's 3 times a day in the Masjid, so I'm on my schedule. But I can't watch movies and do that, because it throws your mind off what you're doing. In other words, I have to retrain myself not to do what I've been doing. And I wasn't cheating or nothing. I've been doing my work, doing everything, writing and everything, during that period. But all I had to do was make sure that I did what I'm supposed to do and not let them get me into their track of thinking. This is perfect. But now we're at a different time. So this is a few days in, the training is kicking in. So now, if it's the same with all of us, now remember, muscles have memory. Since I think everybody in here have done training, we know that muscles have memory. No matter what it is, your training regime. Like if it took me 3 years to get puffed all up on iron, you know, superhero big, all kind of buff and cut. It took 3 years to get that way. A hard driver, okay. If I lay off for 2 or 3 years and run the street or do anything, I can get back to that point in 2 months. In 2 months of working out, I'll be back there in a couple of months. Why? Because muscles have memory. So, at first, you have to really train during that first go-around. So in our first time as a management team, we have to train ourselves as management team. I mean, just simple things. For instance, if we're a management team, for instance, you remember you gave me a call and you said that the rains came in there, and back there? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if the rain came in, all right, then we train ourselves automatically. Oh, as soon as the sun come out, we'll get some stuff and we'll roll the roof right above that big patch. We'll roll it. We'll roll back there. And if we got friends or relatives that do little stuff like that, all that is just a razor blade and cut that stuff out, and then take a little what's the name like that and go. Mud. It's at least 15 minutes. At least 15 minutes, you know. So we train ourselves to do that. So as a management team, it's like the book Driving on Charles. It was big in the early 80s. Management by walking around. When I studied the process, I said that was Umar's process. Umar walked around to the community all the time at night. And that means he was up on the feeling. You heard a woman wailing about her husband was up at the war front. So when he went to Asma, his daughter, he says, how long would a woman really depressed about her husband being gone. She told him about 4 months. Guess what is rotation routine? You go up to the front for 4 months. You go up to the front for 4 months, then you come back home for a while. That was his rotation. He gained that through management by walking around. Because, the walkways are so close, you're almost in the people's house.
Right.
You can hear them talking, oh, Umar ain't gonna catch us, and Umar is standing at the gate. The places are so small, Umar is in the house. So, this leadership and this management, the same as now we're a team. We look at the Masjid, we look at all the things that we have under our authority, and we look at them like, look at it to upgrade it, because that's the stage we're in. So whether it's that, whether it's the bookstore, if the bookstore is all run down, and eventually our dear friend that's using our Masjid parking lot as a junkyard. And this, for a business deal, is pretty good for him, because I'm sure he paid $2,000-3,000 for a yard. He had a junkyard, a yard where he put all this stuff. So now he uses the street and our thing, and he's only paying a little pittance for the rent. He's getting away with like a fat cat, and the government is with him 100%. And they only write those phony tickets, so we'll see them and think they only start writing them when we said they're not writing them.
Right.
And if they were serious, they'd run through here with tow trucks and everything, and they would write down which license plate, this license plate was on this one day, so on such and such the next. They would just snatch it up, because the license plate been out there long enough. They said, we're snatching this up. We don't care what it was on one license plate, the other. This thing comes up, we just snatching it up. And they don't come by like they would when they was messing with me. They'd be there. If I go in the house and leave a car parked in front of the house that don't have the exact sticker, they'd be there when they get there to write up. They're there to write it up. So anyway, we know that there's attention being paid to us. We know that. Extreme attention. But during this next stage, I'm going to talk about Islamic revival in a minute. Because technically, if anybody remember the articles, Islamic revival, 2000, and maybe Islamic revival 2000, that's 17 and 18 years ago. Okay. At that time, we was talking about Islamic revival, that Imam Khomeini was a mujaddid. That Iran had been the seat of Islamic revival. When we look back at it the last 40 years, it's definitely been the seat of Islamic revival. Ain't no doubt about that. Okay. But in America, our focus was on the establishment of Islam, not Islamic revival. Because before you can revive something, it has to be established. But now, in the last 20 years, Islam has been fully established in America. But it's been established on a downgrade, and a low grade, ineffective, inefficient, and all those things, with all those huge organizational opportunities of management, of institution building, of movie, all the things that we talk about, movie making, movie distribution. They got kids in every city, computer smart. They can have movie making and DVD distribution, just like that. They got all the people. Okay, now, this is a time of Islamic revival. Why? Because Islam is established, but it needs to be revived, rejuvenated, reconstituted. Okay, now, so, according to the above hadith, well, I'll pass it. This says, is reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said, Allah shall rise for its ummah at the head of every century a man who shall renew or revive its religion for it. Now, the first Islamic revival was 2000. In viewing our global situation as an ummah, we find the Muslim world with its majority population living under non-Islamic governments. These so-called Muslim governments take the form of dictatorships, kingships, military juntas, sham democracies, and a whole slew of other types that carry on policies of oppression, injustice, and pathetic dependency on the West. Under such conditions, the work that must be done